What is family discipleship? This is Pastor Timothy Board, co-founder and director of Grace Family Ministries. Our mission is advancing the cause of Christ to the ends of the earth, beginning right at home. I'm here with Pastor Nathan Rambeck and Joe Baumgardner, one of the elders at Grace Bible Church here in Springfield, Ohio. And guys, we've been talking a lot about family discipleship this weekend and everything. Just wanted to just pick your brains a little more and everything as far as, what kind of words of encouragement could you give to, this generation of young families raising kids today? Perhaps their kids are younger than yours. You guys have both learned a few things or two, having been mentored by other men in Titus 2 spirit of intergenerational discipleship. As far as, do go ahead and speak to some of these things, just as far as from your heart.
Yeah, two things that I think about when it comes to discipleship of your own family is, one, instruction, and then two, demonstrating the faith to your children. And so some people think, there's this saying, things are more caught than taught, right?
Yep.
And there's some truth to that. But I think both are important.
Right.
You can live out your own Christian life in your home, and your kids will see that. But then there are certain things that they just need the instruction. They need to be told, open up the Bible and read it to your kids. But then they also need to see their dad opening up the Bible and studying the Bible for himself. Their dad going through, spiritual disciplines. So those are some of my initial thoughts on it.
That's right. No, Joe, how about you, brother? You're not a pastor. You're a business entrepreneur, small business owner. So in a workaday world, you understand guys that are turning a wrench, screwdriver, these types of things. Or just eking out to make a living and everything. As far as anything that you want to add to this conversation, Ron?
So I think that when you think of what family discipleship is, it's being intentional. Okay.
Right.
And so I guess if you talk about businesses, we have plans for the things we want to accomplish.
Sure.
And if we don't have a plan, nothing gets accomplished. And we know that about our business, but we don't necessarily always apply that to our families. And so it's really prioritizing, the discipleship and the training of our children, and understanding that comes from mom and dad, right? That's one of the things about discipleship that I think stands out from people say, well, what's that all about? How's that different from just raising my kids as a normal Christian family or whatever? And it's just this emphasis of, it really comes from mom and dad. It's not farmed out, it's not third party or anything like that. And so we take our role seriously. But I think having a plan, being intentional about it, and they need to see from mom and dad their faith, lived out in an authentic way. So.
Now, each of you guys, in your backgrounds, your upbringings, and even just as far as work history and everything, you guys have rubbed shoulders with your fair share of guys that are maybe just come from a harrowing background, and maybe they're married now, starting a family and everything. And just what kind of words of encouragement, advice could you give to young Christian dads? Just as far as just trying to figure things out, and maybe they just started taking personal ownership of their kids' education in greater way than they ever have before. What kind of words of encouragement could you give to some of these types of guys?
Yeah, start small. Don't, it can be overwhelming, all the things that, you could do as a father in family discipleship, but just start with one thing and consider what is one thing that we could start doing as a family that will take us kind of to the next level of where we need to go as a family. Don't try to do everything. And then the other thing is be a constant reader. Read books, learn from other people. That's one of the best ways we can learn from other people. People have thought through some of these things, how to be a good dad, how to be a good mom, how to be a good husband, how to be a good wife, and they put it down on paper, and we can read their wisdom and learn from that and constantly be growing.
So what have you seen, Joe?
Well, I think the biggest thing is sometimes you look at the expectation and you look at the call and you think, wow, that's a lot. And so just start somewhere. And one of the things that I read a book recently talking about habits and a small change. He used an analogy of a plane leaving California, and I think if the nose of the plane was 65 or 15 foot one direction, right, leaving California, it landed in a completely different state on the East Coast.
Wow.
Right? And our lives can be like that. A small change now, in the beginning, just start somewhere. A small change sets you on a trajectory to take you somewhere else. But we have to make that first step. And so don't try to tackle the whole thing at once. Just start somewhere. And little changes add up to big things later on, you know, with our families. And so that's what I would say. Just start. You know,
That's right.
do it. And then look around for other families and guys who, you know, if you're the dad, look at someone who's ahead of you, and if they're doing a good job with their kids, grab onto their coattails. So, yeah.
Now, how about our wives? Any words of encouragement that you could share with guys, or maybe wives directly, just as far as like, hey, they just feel overwhelmed. Just the task, you know, just seems so daunting and overwhelming, and just like, I can't do this, you know, the type of thing. Just any words of encouragement for men whose wives are they're fit to be tied, ready to throw in the towel, and just they're, you know, like kind of the type of thing where when you come home from work and your wife is just, they're your kids, deal with them. You know, it's like, okay, what's going on?
It's difficult. It's challenging. There's a lot of work involved, and I think one of the primary goals of a good husband to a wife who's spending a lot of time doing all those things is to be an encourager.
Sure.
Say, hey, you're doing a great job. Keep on doing it, and keep on and just continue forward through the difficulty, because there's, you know, light at the end of the tunnel, as they say. It gets easier over time. You know, there's always going to be challenges and difficulty, but as you build those habits and you kind of build this life around you, it gets easier. So,
Or how about
also having community, having good friends, people who are on the same path as you are, who you can share your difficulties with, and you can share those difficulties. You know, you're both going when you're doing something difficult with somebody else who's in the same seat as you are.
Sure.
It's just a little bit easier.
Right, the interdependence of the body of Christ. We need each other. What I was going to say is the type of thing like we've heard recently, I believe. Hey, sweetheart, I'll take care of supper tonight. I'll go get pizza. Yeah. Make sure to take the kids with you when you go pick it up, right? Or, you know, unless you want to get it delivered or whatever. But I'm sure our wives will appreciate, like, hey, take the kids with us.
Yeah, give them a break. Everyone
come back in an hour or two. You know, sometimes there's some breathing room needed and everything as far as any.
No, I think that's true. Moms need a break, okay? And, you know, they're with the kids all day long, and that's one of the things, when I come home, I'm looking forward to being with the kids, but with Mom, she's been there all day. So, one, moms need a break. Two, I think it's a lesson I've had to really work on for myself, but we've got to take care of our wives. That's right. You know, you've got to look out for them, and if the marriage relationship, you know, isn't strong, then that's going to transcend down. So take care of our wives and look out for them, and practical things, just like the pizza thing, you know, sometimes just something as simple as saying, hey guys, let's load up and we're going to run out and run an errand and let Mom have a peaceful house, or let Mom go out. That's
take a bath.
Little things like that. Whatever she wants, right? As far as that goes, yes.
And one of the things, pieces of advice that Lori and I received very early on in our marriage, not quite 25 years ago, was just a very simple advice of practical wisdom. And this is going to be very appropriate for perhaps some younger guys that maybe they're just trying to figure things out. Maybe just newlyweds, and just maybe, you know, they're not in the same season of life that we're in. Not to say that we're old per se, although but the piece of practical wisdom that Lori and I received early on was that in your family budget, don't factor in your wife's paycheck into the budget. Otherwise, when the Lord blesses you with children, you won't have as much freedom, or she won't have as much freedom to stay at home with the kids. And just not complicated and everything. Just build it, and not just maxing out your budget, living beyond your means, and you got this, you know, this massive square footage of house and everything that you can't afford and everything. So just point being, because let's face it, increasingly it's becoming more and more difficult for families to make it on one income. And that's a very, very simple piece of advice we received, especially as far as a young couple just trying to figure out marriage, family, and just getting started and moving forward and everything. So, any closing words, guys?
I think that's good, Tim.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, hey guys, I appreciate your friendship and your encouragement and everything. It's been a tremendous weekend of ministry and everything, and thank you for your investment in this ministry, and your prayers for Grace Family Ministries, as together we advance the cause of Christ to the ends of the earth, beginning right at home. Check us out online at gracefamilyministries.org. Soli Deo Gloria.